Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 32 of Show Free, where today we'll be going over episode 9 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Part 1. Now, this episode starts where the other one finished off at, where Higurama's about to cast his domain, and we see as Yuji's running up to him. He's like, I'm going to stop him before he can get his domain cast. He does not stop him, because right as he gets to him, the domain casts, and they're put in their individual spots, because in Deadly Sentencing, the people who are actively being, defense and prosecution, they cannot attack each other physically. Now, verbal attacks are still allowed, but, that isn't causing actual harm. But, so we see as Yuji's put on trial for going into a pachinko store when he was below the age of 18, so he still is below the age of 18. But he's charged with going to the pachinko store, and he is trying to decide on how to go about this, because he believes that he can either deny having went in the pachinko store, say he only went in there to go to the bathroom, or just fully admit guilt. Now, what he ultimately ends up doing is he ends up saying that he went in there just to use the bathroom. However, the evidence, because how Judge Man works is Judge Man is a domain in which the prosecutor, who's Higurama is given evidence that he can see throughout the entire thing. He doesn't even have to open the little packet, the envelope, to see it. He just instantly has knowledge of it. And once Judge Man hears the defense's testimony, then they make a sentence, and this ultimately leads to them usually being confiscated their curse technique or curse energy. But so we see this. Yuji ends up going with the second option. He says that he only went in there to use the bathroom. However, Higurama pulls out the evidence, and it's just a picture of Yuji going in there. But he states that this evidence is not enough, because pachinko stores don't work to where you can actually make money in pachinko, and how in Japan, actually at the store, and how in Japan gambling is illegal, so they're two separate entities. And so Yuji going in there is condemning. So ultimately, Judge Man makes the sentence, declares that Yuji is guilty, and he shall undergo confiscation. Now, for Yuji, since he doesn't have a curse technique, he just simply loses all curse energy. So him and Higurama start duking it out. Higurama is trying to kill him, so he is using this battle was really well animated. It was good. It was really, really good. And it kind of did with the colors, what One Punch. Okay, this is gonna sound a horrible comparison, but how One Punch Man season 3 kind of had that just strong colors. But Mappa did it right here. They did it where it's not just that color, but it's all colors, and it's just really a shadow rather than just the whole tone. Because you can still see Yuji's color scheme and Higurama's color scheme, but it's just ran over with a red color scheme or a blue color scheme, or a red shadow, really. Yeah. So we see this, and they're fighting. Higurama's actually going to town. Higurama, the athleticism of this dude in a suit is crazy. But yeah, we can see as he uses his gavel, he can just manifest it wherever. He can make it change size, length, all that good stuff. And we get a little bit of background into Higurama. He's 35, and he is a very prodigious lawyer, because he's a genius. He was able to pass the old bar exam, and he did everything to get to where he was at the time first try. And we see as he had a conversation with this older man, who was very proud of him for becoming a lawyer. And he's like, why didn't you become a judge? And Higurama just kind of explains why he did not. And so we eventually see as Yuji's about to get crushed beneath Higurama's large hammer, some Looney Tunes stuff. And then he just thinking, he's sweating profusely, and he's like, oh, okay, I can declare a retrial. So he asks for a retrial that sends them back to the courtroom, or deadly sentencing. And then we see as Judge Man comes out with the next sentence, and this sentence is for Sukuna's killings of hundreds of people in Shibuya. I believe it's actually thousands of people in Shibuya, but I don't know. But, yeah, so he is charged with this, and Yuji instantly declares himself guilty. So this leads to Judge Man declaring Yuji as guilty, and his sentencing is death sentence now. So Higurama's given the sword of death, or whatever it's called, the deadly sentencing blade. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But, yeah, he's given this blade, and this blade is essentially a one-hit KO. One-hit kill, because whoever touches the blade dies. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but we also got a brief explanation by Tengen in a semi-flashback where he's explaining how domains have become more complex as time has progressed, and how the one-hit system of a domain never really existed in the older domains. So they just kind of elaborate on that, a little bit of background knowledge. Yeah, so we see as Higurama is given the blade, and he is kind of conflicted with himself, because he knows that Yuji did not kill the people because of the evidence in the packet. So he knows that Yuji didn't kill the people, and that it was Sukuna, the devil within him, that ultimately killed all the people. However, Higurama's still fighting and going about it, and then eventually he gets weighing on himself more and more about his reasons for partaking in law and all that. And then eventually he goes to slash Yuji with the blade. He has the reach for it, and Yuji's about to punch him, but then he turns off the blade, and Yuji punches him. And with that, we see as Higurama cites a section of Japanese law where he states that if a person is not of themselves, such as like they're mentally insane or unable to control themselves, then they cannot be sentenced to such drastic measures. So that is why he allowed Yuji to live. And he's talking with Yuji, and they discuss how he will now give him his points. Now, also, when they were like during the fight was happening, like the main part of the fight before the second retrial or the first retrial, and it explains how Higurama is actually just very good at being a sorcerer as well, because it only took him 12 days, and he advanced to the level that he was at now. He'd killed over 20 sorcerers and exercised many of the curses there. So, just kind of giving more hype to Higurama. Yeah, all around this episode was phenomenal. I love this episode. I love Higurama. I love to see the fight. Like the fight, like I said before, the retrial was so good. It was choreographed so phenomenally. It was sick to watch. It was so fast paced, and like seeing Higurama perform such athletic feats was crazy. I mean, seeing Yuji do so too, because Yuji is an absolute unit even without cursed energy. He's just that fit. His physical prowess is just that high. I don't know if that's really ever explained, but I presume it's because Kenjaku was his mother. So yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, I cannot wait to see how the season ends, because that was really a high point of it. I don't know exactly where the next high point is. I'm thinking maybe the Kashimo fight, but I am not for certain. But yeah, or the Reggie fight. I'm ready to see the Reggie fight. The Reggie fight is super cool because I love how he uses coupons to just summon whatever, essentially, if he bought it. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about episode 9 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 Part 1, and that is all for episode 32 of Show Review. So thank you very much for watching.